Hi, in this video we're going to build a boot screen for our macOS clone. In the video that comes next, we'll build a login screen, so make sure you subscribe and check that out as well. We'll start by deleting a button module from the app module first. We'll get rid of the button from the app component template as well. Next, we'll create a core module. Then we'll use the option generate component, which comes from the Angular files extensions, to create our boot component. Now we need to get rid of the test file, as we are not writing tests in this tutorial. Then we declare a boot component inside of the core module. In the app component HTML, we want to display the active route, so we will add a router outlet here. The routing module was created when we initially created our app. Now let's define a route for the boot component. We define a path and the component. And we will also add a route for an empty string. And a wildcard route to redirect all the mistyped routes to the boot route. Now let's run the project to check if everything works fine so far. And it does, as we see that the boot is our startup route. We'll start building a boot template now. We start with a div with a class of boot screen. Then we go to the SCSS file and add the styling. We want it to have display flex. The flex direction should be column. We want to use align items and justify content to center the items, and the background color should be black, and in the end the height should be equal to 100 VH. So if we go back to our browser, we see a black screen. So this is our starting point. Now I want to do something else. I will create a variables file inside of the styles and add this color here. Next, we add it to the main styles.scss, and then we use this new variable inside of the boot component.scss. We continue building our template now. Let's add an image with a class boot screen logo. And the source is located in the assets folder. Don't forget to add the alt attribute. We give it a width of 60 pixels and a bottom margin of 80 pixels. The image is not displayed yet because we haven't imported our images yet. A link to the zip file will be in the video description, and it contains all the assets that we're going to use during this course. We'll extract it and paste it into the assets folder. Did you notice the white background around our screen? So let's get rid of that now. We create a base SCSS file and we add our resets here. And we don't want to allow user selections, as it doesn't look good on this type of app. Then again, we import the base into the styles as usual. So the white background is gone now. Now let's continue by adding a ProgressBar. And to do this, we're gonna need a PrimeNg component called ProgressBar. This is a new PrimeNg website. Looks cool to me. So we take the import line and paste it into one of our modules. But first, I want to create two additional modules, a shared module and a shared UI module. In the shared UI, I will put all the PrimeNg components that we're gonna use, and I will just re-export them. So let's do this now. I go to the shared module and import this new shared UI module there. So now let's add a shared module to the core module. Now we can use the ProgressBar component inside of the template. It takes a value, and don't worry about the error, we'll get rid of it in seconds. We don't want to show the value, and we just add some default width and height here. So let's add two new colors to the variables array. I'm gonna name it Mac Gray and Light 0. We want to override default PrimeNg ProgressBar styles. We select it first, then we specify the color, and we do the same for the ProgressBar value. In the boot component, we add the ProgressBar value first. Then in the on init, we add the interval, which is going to update the value every 1.5 seconds. Since it's using a matRandom function, at some point it will probably go about 100, so we want to revert it back to 100 again. This is just an example from the PrimeNg website. I didn't change much from their example. We have to clear the interval at some point, and we want this to run every 1.5 seconds. It looks cool already. Let's create a placeholder for the login component now. We add a route for this component as well. We want to use the router in the boot component for navigating to the login component once the slider reaches 100. We hit save, and after a few seconds it worked as expected. But even though we changed the slider background, it's still blue. We need to add ngDeep in order for this to work, as the selectors are not strong enough to override the ones from the theme. In the next video, we're going to create a login component. Thank you for watching.